It's about the road to SAP Cloud ALM, and it's a customer story from Mercedes-Benz, supported by our partner Ridon IT. I'm Markus Fleming. I'm the SAP Enterprise Architect, Lead Enterprise Architect for ITO. That means the IT for operations at Mercedes. And Max, maybe
I'm Max Niedermann from Ridon IT. I assisted the project for Mercedes for the Cloud ALM introduction and also the solution manager parts in there. So we have quite a story to tell, I think.
Yeah, okay, then let's start. What it is about, I will give you a short introduction about Mercedes-Benz, our landscape and so on, where we have our starting point and where we want to get. And Max will talk about what we already achieved, where are the challenges, where are the solutions and best practices, and also some open points. Yeah, to be sure that everybody knows from where am I. I'm from the guys who are building the cars. Why am I saying that? Because every time I heard, you're from Daimler. No, I'm not from Daimler, I'm from Mercedes-Benz. Daimler is a company, the oldest startup I heard last days. It is the oldest startup, they say, and that's about trucks. We are about cars and Mercedes-Benz. And I think everyone knows who or what Mercedes-Benz stands for. One of the wonderful cars of the world we built. But what about IT? So we are making a lot of IT, and that's not so well known to everyone. We have different areas where we're making IT. Of course, everyone knows the products, our cars, where we code the ECUs for automatic driving and so on. But we also have some business units which supporting with their IT the other parts of us. For example, IT for sales or IT for R&D. And IT for operations, and that's the area from what I come from. And in IT for operations, we're responsible for all the IT, for all applications worldwide, which supports production. That means in every plant, every site, we have the IT responsibility at ITO. And where is or comes SAP in the game? In the area of logistics. The whole logistic is done at ITO, at Mercedes-Benz, with the help of SAP. And we have 4 big areas of logistics and challenges for the SAP systems. It is the powertrain area, the global supply chain, the intralogistics, and the maintenance. Here you can see the global dependencies, where all the sites and plants are interconnected, and all these dependencies are maintained and supported by the global supply chain systems. And in each plant, there we have an intralogistics SAP system for the local task, which has been done locally in the plant, and especially for the productive material. And we have the powertrain as itself. It is resided, or the systems resides in the plants, and I'm responsible for the logistics of powertrain and maintenance. And about maintenance, the rest of the story is, but where we does come from? We have for these 4 big landscapes 3 solution managers in place. Each of them is controlling one landscape. The maintenance area is together with global logistics here in the center. It's not important at the moment. We have 3 big ones for powertrain, global logistics, and intralogistics. And we want to consolidate. We want to consolidate those systems. And at the first step, we want to merge the powertrain and the global logistics to a single system. And on that next step, we want to integrate the intralogistics also into the global logistics. Maybe some of you, like this colleague here, heard that on Tuesday already. We want to consolidate these systems to have a single solution manager system where we have all the control about all activities in the ITO, in the logistics, ALM processes, to come to the next step and deploy, use, implement SAP Cloud ALM. And to get more familiar with SAP Cloud ALM, we have built up a pilot, and that's where maintenance comes into the game. Maintenance is about all the non-productive material. Toilet paper, pencil, shoes, everything what comes not into the car is maintained and managed by our so-called system iPro. And iPro is also a little bit older and should be renewed. And therefore, the colleagues decided to follow a greenfield approach, and we call this iPro Next Generation. And this iPro Next Generation system offers us, for the ALM use cases, to completely start also from scratch to find out what Calm can do for us or cannot do for us. And that's what our talk is about today. Okay, and if you have a look on the years in the header, we have started with all of these activities 2023. This year we will consolidate the last solution manager into a single one, and 2025, 26, we want to migrate step by step to our single Cloud ALM instance. And it also means we have to learn how to handle it. So that at the end, everything goes into a single SAP Cloud ALM instance for the ITO. Not for the whole Mercedes-Benz in that step, but for the whole ITO. We have about currently 400 systems. We are talking only about the 4 biggest landscapes here. And I mentioned it already on Tuesday. The intralogistics consists of about 100 systems. We are doing an agile or following in an agile project, 5 weeks sprints, and have all the activities put into the sprint. That means planning, specification, implementation, test, and deployment. We deploy every 5 weeks. And all these specialties, of course, have to be provided by SAP Cloud ALM, but that's the second step. At the first step, we try out what today can be used for such greenfield approaches, together here with our iPro Next Generation colleagues. And iPro as well is used in every site, in every plant, in every building, nearly facility, all over the world, because pencils and so on is needed everywhere. That means non-productive materials. And that's a quite big solution, not only a 3 or 4 tier landscape, but deployed in every plant, used by every colleague, and therefore a lot of users and a lot of different processes and requirements from the different plants and sites. And that's why iPro, not iPro Next Generation, but iPro has so many different processes and wants back to the standard as a background. Greenfield approach, we want to go into the cloud. At the moment, it is an on-premise system, but private cloud edition on-premise. But we want to go to the cloud. We are discussing, of course, and think of RISE, but the cloud strategy is also valid for the SAP applications, SAP-based applications at Mercedes. So where are we standing with iPro at the moment? Of course, we want to support the whole process, whole ALM processes, from plan to run with the develop, test, and deployment, as well as I mentioned it for AM supply. But at the moment, it's not so surprising. Planning and all these requirements, engineering and alignments and so on are done by a telephone call or by mail or by calls on the floor, etc. Something is written down in Jira, but only if it is really important. For example, customizing without any tickets. I called per telephone my colleague and then he's just do it. Yeah, audits are very surprised about those processes. And it goes further. Testing is also manual, done by experts and only explorative. There's nearly no planning. Deployment, okay, I call the sub-bases and tell them, here's my Excel list, please put it into the systems. And of course, the run isn't that smooth. It could be, but only for the tools. We have standards, and here iPro was forced to use that standard. It is based on ServiceNow and focused run. Every productive system in the ITOM at Mercedes is integrated into focused run and has to use for the IT service management focused ServiceNow. Everything is handled by Office, files, okay, Jira, but more mails than Jira tickets. But what is the goal? Of course, we want to use SAP Cloud ALM for requirement, the whole implementation part, with user stories, features, and in testing, of course, all the test planning and test execution issues integrated in SAP Cloud ALM, and at the end, of course, use our standard. And all these should based on the SAP Activate method, with LeanIX, Signavio, and SAP Cloud ALM, with integrated into the process documentation and so on. So all buzzwords mentioned, and we want to test what is possible. One more thing, Mercedes is agile. Yeah, hard to believe, but we are trying. In many areas, we do our best, and others will follow. But if we are going agile, then with SAFe. And that means a really big framework for scaled agile environments, and that's another requirement which an ALM should support or should provide for us. And together with all these requirements, I have gone to my partner, to our partner, and said, hey, try it out and try to find what is possible, what is not possible, where are our challenges, and please go on with our Mercedes standards, LeanIX, Signavio, and the new standard SAP Cloud ALM. It is so that we have a single LeanIX instance centrally for all of our applications already installed and in place worldwide, centrally, all applications in it. SAP Signavio is, of course, also in place, and we want to try it from the ITO and SAP perspective in an integrated way together with SAP Cloud ALM, and that's what Max will talk about.
Thank you, Markus, for the introduction and also drawing the scope. I think you now can imagine the big scope of the landscape, that it's hard to, okay, when can we start, because we had solution minutes before with all the functionalities in place, and iPro was the perfect starting point for us because they had nothing in place, so we started off with this project. So from a timeline perspective, we started in January, February, getting the tenant, and then we were going into using Cloud ALM. Let me take you on a journey to show you what we did, what was good, what was bad, how it fits in the global scope as well. You see, we're talking also about Signavio, we're talking about LeanIX and so on. But let me draw the bigger scope as well. So what did we use in Cloud ALM? The S4HANA project was initiated together with SAP, and they used SAP Activate methodology to scope the processes, to also go ahead, do fit to standard workshops and so on. And that's also one point we also used Cloud ALM for. So we activated the best practices in SAP Cloud ALM. We are using the roadmap in SAP Cloud ALM. So that is one part of what we are using in there. what else is very important? We also wanted to set up best practices for clean core, because you all know you have systems, you're developing whatever without checking, is this the right approach? So we also looked into how can we assist to keep the core clean here. We're using the application extensibility methodology by SAP to do exactly that. We're using Cloud ALM to track it. We're using tags in there to see what would be functional user stories to help identify stuff like that, and also to identify where it needs to be checked, who needs to be responsible to make the calls. That's one part we also use in Cloud ALM to support this. There's more coming up, as you probably heard in the last sessions as well. So that's one important point for us to start off with this project, because we have a greenfield approach here. Now we can do everything right. Let me give you a little bit of an overview of what we did during rolling out Cloud ALM for the iPro project. As I said, we started off beginning of this year. For the scope, there's roughly 100 users in SAP Cloud ALM using it actively, designing the project, designing requirements, creating user stories, and so on. What did we do? We used SAP Signavio, so we did best practice, fit to standard workshops, designed the